what's up there, YouTube? Thought I'd take a quick little break from the tractor videos and give you guys a little footage of another activity I like to do. So we're arriving here now. I don't know if you can see that weird looking trailer out of the nice one sitting next to it, but we're about to break that thing out and play with it. Something that I used to do a lot more of, but this summer I have not gotten out that much. So throw you in a hands-free mount and dig this thing out. Alright. Do this.
Just while you're flying around, you see something, try to call it out and block the off the road. But if you ain't sure, just hey Bill, there's a point that I'm over here, and don't hesitate to point stuff out, because I may be distracted or looking somewhere else, and don't always assume because I'm a flight instructor that I see it all, and you know what I'm saying. So don't hesitate to call out stuff about. And then when you fly with people, always encourage them to do that. And if they do point something out, even if you've seen it, say, okay, thanks, I got you, I see it, thank you. And just encourage that, because it just doubles your safety. Yeah, we're good, Brady.
All right.
Yeah, no worries. So always encourage them to look for aircraft, and if they do see something, compliment them and point it out. So anyways, if you see aircraft,
And there's the bird.
If I ever had, well, not civilian, military, it is so funny.
It's like use a little air.
I noticed myself went right into the brake, cross my arm, grab my shoulder straps, and get your arms and legs tucked in tight. I mean, this thing is doing it. I mean, violent. This. And anyways, as I even noticed, wow, I didn't even think to do that. I just feel different. So everything brake, cross your arm, grab your shoulder strap, tuck your head, get your arms and legs.
Yeah, I'll have to spin it around, and actually that battery's probably junk, so I might have to throw air in off of my pickup truck, 12 volt there. So I won't bore you for that. I'll bring you back in a little bit. Yeah, screw it. I figured I'll bring you back anyway. If I have to sit through this, then you can too, right? I just figured it'd give me a quick second to talk. So for those that are not familiar, man, I'm having a hard time getting that threaded. There we go. This is considered a powered parachute into the light sport, or this one could fit the bill as a Part 103, which actually doesn't require you to have a certificate. However, I am a certificated pilot, so if I wanted to get a two-seater, I can do that as well. I like running my tires a little soft, but not that soft. I'll put them up to 15 and see how they feel. Yeah, that's about as much as I'd want to go. But anyway, continuing on, so how they fly. Of course, you see, got a big old fan on the back here. It's powered by basically a snowmobile motor. It's the Rotex 503. So let's see, we gotta find it. There we go. And you got a basically like a parachute or a wing, a parachute that becomes your wing as it fills with air. I'm gonna have to turn this a little bit here. Let's see. And yeah, as it fills with air, it becomes a rigid wing at that point and creates lift. Put that one on. You steer it with your feet. That's those yellow ropes you see there. And attached to those foot bars. There we go. And yeah, basically when you're on the ground, you'll steer. You got a hand bar for your left hand, or at least on my setup it's on the left, and then my throttle's on the right. I think most of them will be that way. Oh, I want to get my front tire. I guess I left my tank a little extra full. I could see it coming out of the overflow. Ethanol free, so it shouldn't kill the grass. Just a joke. Of course. I don't know what else to really say other than they're a blast. You don't fly very fast. You get the pleasure of flying within inches of the ground, or on my certificate I can go up to 10,000 feet, but I have yet to do that. It starts to get a little chilly in an open cockpit. I swore when I first got my certificate that's what the first thing I was going to do. And yeah, no. Highest I've gone is 4,500. That was pretty chilly. Alright, let's see. Oh, that one good. A little less in the front there. Feel free to try to fast forward. I'm sure you won't miss anything too important. Yeah, I've been flying this is 6 years now, but the last couple of years I've done a little less and less as I've tried to do other things. Because when I first got my license, I basically lived at the airport, you could almost say. Never really came too much, or I don't think more than a couple times before work, but I was here every night after work. And yeah, right up until it gets dark. Every weekend. Sometimes it's hit or miss with the weather. Like right now, it's looking pretty decent. I like to look at the tops of the trees, although pines can be a little tougher, so it's nice when you have trees with the leaves, as you can see also. But just saying for a reference to see if it's still windy or not or whatever, because it might feel calm on the ground, but you look up at the trees and they could be bending over a little, you know. I mean, some depends on where you are, of course. Where I am, I'm surrounded by pretty much mountains on all sides of me. Can't really go too far in New Hampshire without having a mountain in front of you. All right, enough of that. So socks looking good down there. There's barely a light breeze on the face. But next will be the pre-flight, and then I'll pull it over a little bit out of here where I can chalk my wheels and warm it up. So I always work left side of the aircraft around. I like to, wherever I cannot see, or without having to bend down, of course I can see it that way, but the head of the bolt, or excuse me, the nut, and I at least feel, make sure there's some thread sticking out beyond there. Check my steering bar, make sure that looks good. Just check other hardware along the way. If you want to call it an instrument pod. This is my ground steer. Everything seems good. No play there. Yeah, I can check my pulley, make sure. This is, you know, what does all my steering, so if this was to have any issues, I'd rather find out about it now. So other things I'll continue to check though, relating to that when I got ready to lay out the chute. So seatbelt, I just want to make sure it's, you know, firmly attached, no rips, cuts, or anything of concern. Make sure my battery box cover's on. Just give another check, eyeing over all my hardware and everything. Everything looks good there. So come around to the side here. I'm gonna check and make sure all my spark plug caps are down. None of them popped up or anything. I've never had that happen, but it's just part of the pre-flight routine. So once you do it a few hundred times, or not even, just once you do it enough, you start doing it all the time. So checking my springs, make sure those are good. This is a line for my oiler, so I can, blow smoke out behind me when I want to at the flick of a switch. I had problems with that coming off on me with the compression fitting that was on there, so I ended up just cutting off the end and flaring it myself and putting it back together, and it's been pretty good. So now I'm just gonna check suspension. That's good. I don't really see any cracks or anything that's of concern. Let me point you down there, huh? So anyway, flex suspension, check my tire pressure, and there's my fuel, because like I said, my tank is full. So moving around, I'm gonna just check my lights. I'm gonna touch them all. I've got my strobe up here, my other nav light, make sure those are good. Again, look at the structure of the aircraft, make sure all the bolts, nuts look good. And then I will check my blades, make sure there's no cracking or anything going on here. Everything looks good. Check, make sure you want to have just a little bit of slop, very little slop in the gearbox there. And just make sure I'm not leaking any fluid out of any seal or anything there. I can just rub my finger, and as you can see, I do have a very slight bit coming out there, so I guess I'll be working on a gearbox seal here. My carburetor, I want to make sure my boot isn't torn, so I'll stretch it up, down, left, right, whatever, pull it towards me, look on all sides of it. Good. I'm not concerned about this. It's just a cracked little boot, but it's not really doing anything anyway. So I mean, obviously it's like an insulator, but it's insulated cable anyway. So give the whole thing a little shake, make sure nothing looks out of whack there, nothing loose sounding. And then basically the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna flex down on the suspension. Good. Yep. Check air pressure. Just check back here, make sure. And it looks kind of like a mess, but believe me, everything is somewhat organized and has its role. So moving back around to the front, I want to make sure my throttle is sliding nicely. I listen to it. I can hear it. Sounds good. Check the seatbelt on this side. At this time is a good time to maybe just double check any caps you might have on. Make sure they're tight. You don't want anything going through your prop, because that can get a little expensive. So one last steering bar to check. I already checked all the bolts. I'm just gonna check the wheels also. Castle nuts good. Pins in there. Should have checked them on the way around, but confirmed. And confirmed. Castle nuts are all in place with their cotter pins. So next thing is to roll it out, get it away from these vehicles, and point it in a way that I'm not gonna disturb the people behind me getting ready to depart. All right, that'll do. Get the wheel chocks out. Toss one. Yeah, as you can see by the cobwebs there, man. Yeah, I got out once in the beginning of the season, of the summer, anyway, well, late spring, I guess. And then we pretty much got a lot of rain. And what few times I might have had opportunities to come fly, I was either working a side job or doing something, so. Now, dead grasshopper on my seat, that's cool. All right. Hopefully my battery's not dead, because I don't have a backup pull start on this, so. Yeah, first thing I'm gonna do is flip my master, as you want to say, but basically it's my kill switch for killing the spark there. That's all. That's the only function it does. So, well, according to my display, I've got 12.5, 12.4. So, gonna throttle in position, give it some pumps of the primer. Yeah, finally. All right, gonna make my call so nobody walks around me by accident. So, clear left, clear right, clear prop. 1,000, 1,000 to make sure nobody's around. Whoop. Looks like I could use a new battery in my tachometer there. I would have thought it would just pull off of the main battery, so I guess I'll have to check that out sometime, but that's tough to read. Well, about 3,100 RPMs, if you can see that. Anyway, I'm going to sit like this for a couple of minutes. I'll bring my gauges up and yeah, make sure I'm up to temp and nothing seems wrong before I then lay out my wing. Alright, warm up complete. Get rid of these. I also realized I'll hood up on my truck. Just go take care of that. Not much of a trailer, but it serves its purpose. I don't know. Well, if you watch enough of my videos, I might say that too often. Alright, oh. This is also the time I grab any last things I want. In this case, I want to pack my beverage and grab a jacket. It's like probably high 70s or low 80s right now on the ground, but as I said before, it can get a little chilly up there, and well, I'd rather be safe than sorry, because I can always unzip. Let's hope my radio still has some juice in it too. All right. Push this back a little, just give myself more room, and also I won't be in there prop blast as bad, so I don't have to worry about resetting my chute after I take time to set it up. This should probably about do. Give myself a little 45-degree angle to the runway. As you can see, I can straighten it out from here. I'll plan to come in right next to the marker. So, all right. Scrap this cigarette and get on it. Oh, first thing first, bungee cord. This is just on there basically to make sure the bag stays tight, so that when I'm warming it up, there's no chance, I mean, there shouldn't be any chance of it getting in there anyway, but again, props can be a little expensive if you want to be safe. Sounds like they're getting ready to take off. Yeah, I'll stop over there. So he's slowing down to get the oscillation out of the wing a little bit. You can, help with some of that with your foot bar there, but if you push too much, you might just cause more oscillation. So it's better to just, kind of slow down and go from there. As you can see, they're airborne now. That craft flies heavy. That was the one I trained in. Well, same model, it was a different year. He picks up new ones. I'm don't know how often, every couple of years or so. But yeah, every 2 years I have to go for a quick little like evaluation flight, you could call it, just so that the instructor can see that I can still fly. I'm still capable of controlling my aircraft. And then signs off in my little book, giving me another 2 years. All right, anyway, I'll pull the wing out here. Separate it in half there. Just kind of straighten it out with the aircraft. I don't know if you can see the little, I'll point it out at another time, but there's a little patch or so, you can, an information tag. And that's what I want kind of with the back of my, or centered with the back of my aircraft. So now I'll start folding these out while I'm doing this. Make sure you're pointed there. Oops. Yeah, I don't know if I hit the button or not, but anyway, I want to make sure that none of my lines where they attach or anything is looking ripped, or just that any of the knots could possibly be ripping or coming out. So just kind of scan over that as I start to open this up. Checking the lines. Make sure things get good. They gotta hold me up there. So now, get to this point, I'll just pick this up. Oh. Wait a minute. It'll help first if I unbuckle from up here. And then I'll pick it up and unzip as I slide that towards me. I'm going to undo the other side while I'm at it. Yeah, so it's ready. Oh, here they come in for a little touch and go. Try to capture that real quick. Nice and smooth. Alright, now pull this towards me. This just kind of helps keep my lines off the ground, even though it's inevitable they're going to touch the ground, but keeps my zipper from getting snagged in them too. Anyway, now I can throw it out there and roll it back up so I can stuff it in my bag. Sorry, get a little distracted there when I'm in mid-sentence. Anyway, feel free to skip ahead, 10 seconds at a time here. Get this up. It's not raining, but if you see any drops in front of the camera, that's just me sweating my balls off right now. Alright, finish laying out this side. Continue looking at the lines. Pulling all the way out. Making sure not to have any lines underneath, or what's called as a line over, because when the chute comes up, what's underneath here, under here, would end up being on top, and kind of clamp down on your wing a little bit there. And all my time flying, the only time I had a little wing over, and it was weird because it was in like the center of the wing. Didn't really cause any problems. I was able to fly, come back in for a landing, and reset up again, took off, and it wasn't there this time, so I'm not sure exactly how that one occurred. Again, checking the lines, don't want them on there. Alright. Grab the leftovers, grab the zipper, pull and slide. Toss the heavy on. Oh yeah, I remember things. And again, feel free to skip forward or watch this landing. Probably another touch and go. Nice. Now, here's why he travels a little bit before going airborne again. He just wants to check his wing, make sure it hasn't started oscillating for any reason after the touch and go. Well, after the touch. And then, yeah, proceed with throttle for the go part of it. All right. That stuff's bagged. Zip this side up. That bag got put on here and hasn't come off. Already I can see how my wing isn't perfectly square with this, so after I finish pulling it out and do my inspection, which everything looks there, I'll just grab this corner here and kind of give it a little tug this direction. Now, bring the aircraft backwards. I want it just a little bit off of the edge of this. Still a little crooked, but that's all right. I can turn my nose. All right. Pick a side, doesn't really matter where you start. What I'm gonna do is just pull up on my steering line, make sure I've got it all over here on this side. I want to make sure both of these are flipped forward. I've had one flip down and it just kind of pulls a little bit on the wing and will cause you to have a slight steer in that direction, whatever side you have it on. So, all right, right now I'm separating my lines. That was quick, just grab and pull. Check them all out. I mean, I'll dance them a little bit. Like this one, he is a little wrapped, so there, all done. And everything looks good there. So I'll move on to pulling out my rear lines and just kind of stretch them all out there. You can't see my hand outside of the thing, but I just take my two little leader lines. Those are the longest ones. I just want to make sure those are out. I'll grab my steering lines, pull them out, and just make sure they're not bunched up in any way, as well as you probably just saw, I folded down that side of the wing. Then simply drop it where it sits, walk up, grab it all again, double check in there, and we're going to triple check in a second. Take all the lines in your hand here, just toss them out. Set them up in their hooks here. Just want to come back here and put this steering line. Now the reason for doing that is because without it, it can get pinched, and then yeah, you pretty much don't have any steering on that side. And I can say that that has happened to me at least once as well. I think twice, actually. Now I'm just double checking here, making sure nothing looked like it was gonna become a knot. Everything looks good there. So now to the other side. Right, same thing, grab all the lines, make sure all these are up. Oh yeah, and the triple check I mentioned, that was when I was putting my steering line up on over that bungee. I was also checking that. Those again while I was talking about them. So flip loose any lines. All right. Yeah. Everything looking good so far. Continue to hold that up while I pull my rears. And I just kind of dance them in my fingertips, you know. Not really trying to yank on or anything. I just want to get them pulled out a bit. Make sure, like I said, they're not tied or about to become looped. So, got my steering lines. Pull those out and pull out the rest of the wing. All right, everything looks good. Drop. Pick them all up again. Double check it. And just whip them up on. Alright. Everything looks good there. See, this is where they would be pinched, if you see that right there. So that's why you would Want to make sure you stick it up on top of there. Triple check those. Now I'm just going to go around, stretch my wing out, because now that I've pulled the aircraft back more, it's giving me a little more line. So I can finish pulling this out, as I wanted to, encourage it to pull this would be the leading edge of the wing. I wanted to pull that up and take a big gulp of air to hurry up and inflate faster. All right, well, I'm gonna get out of the hands-free mount and put it in the mount you see right up here. And then I'll throw my jacket on, wait for my time to hop into the pattern. Because by the time I'm ready, he'll probably be coming back in for another touch and go. So anyway, that's the setup. And in a moment, we'll be taking off. All right, folks, so I am all suited up and ready to go here. Just waiting, I got that one PPC coming in for another touch and go. I'll plan to take off after. This will be the last I'll be able to talk to you through the microphone on the camera. I unfortunately don't have the adapter, so I can't talk to you during flight, but I'll at least take you around the pattern and yeah, maybe show you a little bit of what's fun to do. For that, I may either just plan to narrate it or just let you guys watch. Let's see what I decide. Alright, time to make my call in a moment. What's going on? Alright. Plymouth traffic, calculation Bravo Delta, taking the altitude 30, confirmed. Master on, clear left, clear right, clear prop. I don't know why I stopped that. I guess that's what I'm used to doing when I'm going wide. But that you can hear me. I don't know, maybe. I had to stop recording for a little while because I needed to get a little bit of juice back to it. Apparently it consumes more than it charges. So as you see, I'm down to 19%. So I won't bore you with wrapping this thing up, but basically I'm gonna reverse of what I did to my chute to put it out. I'll lay it out again and then fold it all back up, putting the lines back in those socks, and push this thing away. So thanks for tagging along with me, guys.